face. Oh.
Maddie Soto's mother, Jenn Soto, quizzed by detectives in a newly released interview days after Maddie goes missing.
Oh.
He was a good guy. I've always told him that my biggest fear is that this would turn into a Woody Allen situation.
The detectives talked to Jenn Soto about how she knew what Maddie was wearing the morning she disappeared.
When the deputies first talked to you, when you were reporting her missing,
Yeah.
you remember writing a statement?
Yes.
Okay. In that statement, you say you saw Maddie.
I know. I misremembered. I didn't see her.
Okay.
I wanted to.
Did she just say she misremembered, Ed?
She did say that, yes. And then later on, she's going to say that she tried to say that the reason that was it, she was told to write this out. And when she was writing it out, she wrote it this way.
Unbelievable.
I believe I saw her, but I didn't.
But when you're talking
She believed that she saw her, but she didn't.
to the deputy on his body cam, you describe what she's wearing.
Because she had picked it out the night before.
Bullshit.
I told her to set up her clothes the night before to have it ready, so she was ready to.
How many of you guys think she's full of shit?
Now remember, Jenn Soto said she was sleeping that morning and Stephan Stearns later woke her up. So of course they're wondering how she knew what Maddie was wearing. So Jenn Soto said she knew what Maddie was wearing because she didn't see her that morning, but because Maddie had picked out her clothes the evening before. The conversation then turned to Stephan and Jenn's sex life. Now this is probably an important point given the allegations of sexual abuse in this case.
Now, the relationship that you had with Stephan, you told me that you haven't had sex in a while.
Yeah.
When you guys were together and intimate with each other, this may be a little uncomfortable, but something that we have to discuss is when you guys were intimate with each other, a lot of people call it vanilla sex. Mm-hmm. Some people call it, whatever kind of sex you want to call it. Mm-hmm. How would you describe you and Stephan when you guys were intimate?
Pretty vanilla. I would say just missionary and oral, but nothing more than that.
So these detectives are clearly trying to figure out whether Jenn Soto was allowing the abuse or whether she's involved in Maddie's disappearance.
I'm sorry, but Maddie's mom needs to be locked up.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, the detectives were also very interested in this whole thing about Jenn Soto, Maddie, and Stephan Stearns sleeping in the same bed together. And then at times, Maddie and Stephan sleeping in bed together alone.
How long has that been going on?
So...
And how many of us can believe her answers here? You hear her, she's like, so, and she's trying to think, what would be reasonable for me to say?
I'm going to say back in June. It was primarily the three of us sleeping in bed together all the time.
And why? How did that start?
Maddie has always slept in the bed with me. She's always slept in my room. Only when we lived in that apartment in Northport did she have her own bedroom, and we could afford for her to have her own room. So that was the only time she's actually had her own room. Once she got older and we started having roommates and all that stuff, she started just staying with me in my bedroom.
Oof.
Stephan, during the times that we did live with Stephan, it would be the three of us in this bed down here, down in the master bedroom. It wasn't until June of last year that we had broken up, and I said, okay, I don't want to sleep in the same bed with you. Please move upstairs. And he moved upstairs.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When you break up with somebody, you throw them out of your house. You tell them, you can't stay in my house anymore. We're not together. So she breaks up with him and says, oh, go to bedroom number 4 with the big locks on it and everything like that. Just go hang out up there. I mean, do you think that makes any sense?
Nothing about this makes sense.
This whole story is ridiculous.
This is totally out of the norm.
But you told them to go Sunday night to go sleep together.
I did. I was never comfortable with it. That was a selfish move on my part. It's because I wanted a good night's sleep. I didn't want her kicking me or rolling into me.
So she said she was suspicious of it or never felt comfortable with it, but she said it was a selfish move on her part. She wanted to get a good night's sleep, and she would just throw her daughter to the wolf who's been raping her for God only knows how long.
Since she was 8.
So sickening, so disheartening, so So all of the above. This case makes me sick when I talk about it. I don't even enjoy covering this type of case because I want to see, obviously, justice for this victim, Madeline Soto, but I know, and you and I both know, that Stephan Stearns is going to fry for this. They have such an overwhelming mountain of evidence against this monster, this savage. But when you look at her, when you look at the mom, it just makes me sick. When I see the picture of the mother and how stupid she's being and how dumb she's playing intentionally and like using her illness as a crutch as to not be a good mother, it just doesn't bode right with me, you know?
It's just more proof that any knucklehead can have a child, but not everybody can be a parent, and certain people shouldn't be parents. Okay?
God, really, really sickening.